ultimate sacrifice to give us this opportunity to play this game we love. Lead him in well, touch gloves. Guys, come across, meet your opponents.
Welcome to the 2024 Preseason NCAA Men's Lacrosse Rules and Officiating video. This presentation contains significant rules changes for the upcoming season, points of emphasis, and officiating guidance. Numerous video examples have been selected to illustrate and enhance the understanding of the rules for officials, coaches, and student athletes. Please note that there was no intent to embarrass any institution, coach, student athlete, or official with the selection of these clips. The Rules Committee would like to bring the following items to the attention of the men's lacrosse community through the points of emphasis. A full list of the points of emphasis can be found in the online-only version of the 2023-24 NCAA Men's Lacrosse Rules Book. Players are required to wear their equipment properly. There is zero tolerance for helmets coming off during live play. In addition, other equipment, including shoulder pads, chest protectors, gloves, and arm pads, must be worn as designed. Head coaches will certify during the pregame meeting with the game officials that their team is properly equipped. The pregame equipment certification by the head coach and official shall act as the team warning. As a friendly reminder, Rule 121B states that a white or light-colored uniform shall have dark-colored numbers. A dark-colored uniform shall have light-colored numbers. Uniforms, and specifically uniform numbers, serve a purpose, and when numbers do not clearly contrast, it makes it challenging for officials, fans, broadcast partners, and coaches to clearly identify a player. The Men's Lacrosse Rules Committee may look at future rules changes if this is not addressed. The Men's Lacrosse Rules Committee was asked to clarify the rules around goal nets, as historically they have been largely silent. Provided that the mesh of the net does not exceed 1.5 inches, it may be of varying shapes. For example, a square, hexagon, octagon, etc. In addition, advertising on goal nets has made it challenging for officials to see if the ball has crossed the goal line or entered the goal. Only institutional, commercial, and memorial logos are permitted to be affixed to the back center of the goal nets, no higher than 3 feet facing outwards. The Rules Committee urges a continued commitment by coaches, players, and administrators to uphold and respect the game to the highest level, both on and off the field. A continued commitment is needed to ensure that all participants are working together to foster good sportsmanship and to continue to promote a positive image for our game. Coaches and players are reminded to remain in their respective areas on the sidelines. The committee is noticing a troubling trend across all divisions of players standing too close to the boundary lines and coaches entering the field of play. Coaches and officials are instructed to work together to ensure that coaches and players remain in their respective areas. Let's start with the rules changes that were made during the annual meetings in June. Although this was a non-change year, the Playing Rules Oversight Panel does permit rules changes in a non-change year for the integrity of the game, as well as for health and safety purposes. The Rules Committee addressed several rules changes, with only the most significant changes covered in this video. Please refer to the summary of changes for the 2024 season on the Men's Lacrosse NCAA.org Playing Rules page for a complete listing of adjustments. Rule 6.6AA states that during a live ball scenario within the scrimmage area, anytime a player's helmet comes off their head, the officials will stop play immediately. That player is required to leave the field of play. Play is to be restarted once that player reaches the substitution area, and that player may not return until the next dead ball following the restart of play. In 2024, the player possessing the ball loses his helmet. Play is stopped immediately, and that player must come off the field until the next dead ball following the restart of play. This season, as soon as the helmet comes off, play shall be stopped immediately. In this clip, the player in black must leave the field of play. In addition, the team in white had possession, so the player in black must leave the field and is assessed a 30-second technical foul. The player in black may not return until the next dead ball following the restart of play. In this clip, the player in blue must leave the field of play until the next dead ball following the restart of play. Because this play involved illegal contact by the team in white, the team in blue will retain possession. We will revisit this play later in the video. The Rules Committee and the Playing Rules Oversight Panel approved adding a permissive rules change which has expanded video review for goals, certain timing plays, and a coach's challenge for regular season and postseason play. Rule 433 states, "The use of video review is a permissive rule and not required." However, if used, the rules outlined in Rules 433, 434, and 435 must be followed. The referee and either the umpire and/or the field judge may use the designated video monitor located at the table area to review the following. 1. To correct the game clock and/or the shot clock when there is a malfunction or timing error. 2. To review the release of a shot at the end of a period in relation to the expiration of time for the game clock or the shot clock. 3. To review if a shot at the end of a period is deflected off of a defensive or offensive player before it enters the goal. 4. To review if a shot hits the camera mounted inside the goal cage. 5. To determine if a loose ball crosses the goal line. 6. To determine if the ball crosses the goal line before the dislodgement of the goal cage. 7. To determine if an offensive player's body made contact with or landed in the crease prior to the ball crossing the goal line. 8. To determine if an offensive player landed in the goal mouth prior to or after the ball crossed the goal line as a result of illegal contact by the defense. 9. To determine if an offensive player landed in the goal mouth as a result of illegal contact by the defender. 10. To determine if a goal was scored as a result of the head of the shooter's cross coming off during the shot or follow-through. The television crew may provide a burn-in view of the game clock, which is the official timing device. Any artificial device, for example a television graphic, is not to be used for this purpose. Conclusive video evidence must be present for the call on the field to be overturned. Video review shall be provided by the home team, independent of the team bench areas. If available, video review shall be used. Conclusive evidence must be present to overturn a call on the field. Here, a goal was called on the field. Upon further review, it appears that the player in blue's foot may have swiped the goal mouth, or the foot may be just above the goal mouth in the air. There is not conclusive evidence on this play to overturn the call on the field. The following clips are examples of if video review had been used on these plays, and there was conclusive video evidence present to overturn the call on the field. In the past, video review was only permitted for limited timing scenarios and certain goal-scoring plays during postseason play. This year, video review is expanded to other scoring opportunities as a permissible rule to the regular season as well. In this clip, officials correctly used video review to determine that the shot was not released prior to the game clock expiring. The television crew may provide a burn-in view of the game clock, which is the official timing device. Any artificial device, for example a television graphic, is not to be used for this purpose. Conclusive video evidence must be present for the call on the field to be overturned. Contact to the head and/or neck area may only be reviewed if the on-field official makes a call of contact to the head and/or neck area. 1. Officials may only use this procedure if a contact to the head and/or neck area is called on the field. 2. Officials will notify coaches before starting the review. 3. Officials have 4 penalty options to consider under this review. A. Indirect contact to the head and/or neck area. B. Direct contact to the head and/or neck area. C. Excessive or flagrant contact to the head and/or neck area with possible expulsion. D. The officials may assess the appropriate releasable penalty, an illegal body check, unnecessary roughness, etc. Officials are permitted to review a possible infraction that was not observed during play. However, only contact to the head and/or neck area may be considered. Should the officials determine that another infraction occurred, they may not assess that penalty by video review. However, if the officials determine that contact to the head and/or neck area did occur, they may enforce those penalties under this rule. The official calls a cross-check on the field. Because the official called a cross-check, this play is not reviewable under the current video review rules for contact to the head and/or neck area. The official called indirect contact to the head and/or neck area on the field. This year, this play may be reviewed at the official's discretion to either confirm the call on the field or to determine the severity of the hit. The player in white directly contacts the player in blue in the head. This year, upon officials' discretion, the officials may review this play. Upon review, it is conclusive that the player in white excessively and flagrantly contacted the player in blue in the head. The player in white is subject to a 3-minute penalty with the possibility of expulsion for the remainder of the game. In addition, the player in blue's helmet comes off. That player is required to leave the field of play and may not return until the next dead ball following the restart of play. Lastly, it appears that there also may have been possible illegal contact from behind by another player in white. Since this contact was not called on the field, the officials cannot assess a penalty for that illegal contact. Officials may review unobserved possible contact to the head and neck area, but may only assess penalties for contact to the head and neck area in those situations. A coach's challenge may only be requested for the reviewable items in Rule 433. A coach may use a challenge up until the last 4 minutes of regulation. Referee discretion may be used at any time during the game. A team will be permitted 1 coach's challenge each half. If a coach's challenge is unsuccessful, that team loses its challenge and will be charged a timeout. If the challenge is successful, they will retain that coach's challenge and the timeout. Should a team no longer have any timeouts remaining, a coach may not challenge a call on the field. Challenges do not carry over from each half or into any overtime period. All reviews in the last 4 minutes of regulation or any overtime period shall be reviewed by referee's discretion. If a team wishes to challenge a goal called on the field, The head coach must challenge prior to the start of the next face-off by throwing the red challenge flag. If a team wishes to challenge a non-goal call, the head coach must throw the red challenge flag within 30 seconds and have it seen by one of the officials. A non-goal is defined as a scoring opportunity unobserved as a goal by game officials. The officials will use the shot clock to time the 30-second allowable period for the head coach to challenge. If, within the 30-second time period, a goal is scored by either team and the challenge is affirmed, then the additional goal scored during the 30-second period of time will be disallowed. If, within the 30-second time period, a penalty is called or a flag is thrown, the penalty or penalties will still be served, even if the challenge is affirmed. If the challenge of a non-goal is affirmed, the no goal stands, the time on the game clock shall remain the same as when the play was stopped for review. If the challenge of a non-goal is overturned, the game clock shall be adjusted back to the time of when that disputed goal occurred. As a reminder, coaches may challenge only those timing scenarios and goal-scoring opportunities outlined in 433 until the last 4 minutes of regulation. During the entirety of the game and in the last 4 minutes, an official may review these situations at their discretion. Contact to the head and/or neck area may only be reviewed by the game officials. A goal was called on the field with no flag for illegal contact. A coach may use a challenge prior to the next face-off to review if the offensive player landed in the goal mouth. These are examples of non-goal calls made on the field. In these situations, the head coach, prior to the last 4 minutes of regulation or overtime, has 30 seconds to challenge the call on the field. These are good examples of offensive players taking the correct path to the goal and diving without landing in the goal mouth or crease. The officials correctly adjudicated these plays. Players took incorrect paths and entered the goal mouth with either legal or no contact by the defense. These are no goals. Here are examples of illegal contact by the defense, forcing the offensive player into the goal mouth or crease. Illegal contact does not negate a goal that is scored due to illegal contact from the defender, provided that the ball crosses the goal line prior to the offensive player landing in the goal mouth or crease. The Rules Committee has seen a positive trend in face-off play based on feedback from the membership. Face-offs are conducted more quickly, resulting in cleaner face-off play and less withholding. The Rules Committee is requesting that officials continue to vary their cadence. As a reminder, there is zero tolerance for a player to not be positioned properly to begin the face-off. Officials are reminded to look for players positioned properly, going down together with the ball in the proper position, including players' hands not on the plastic at the head of the cross, and players' gloves touching the ground. In these plays, face-off players use their sticks to the body of their opponent. A violation should have been called in these situations. Face-off players may use their stick on their opponent's stick, but the players are directed to play the ball, not the opponent. NCAA Lacrosse is seeing an increased emphasis on utilizing screens as part of offensive tactics. The Rules Committee reminds coaches and players that a legal screen requires the screener to stay within the vertical plane, including the cross, with a stance in which the inside of the screener's feet is not wider than shoulder width apart. The screener must be motionless if contact occurs. A screener shall not lean into the path of an opponent or extend hips into that path. Likewise, defensive players are not permitted to foul a legal screener. These are legal screens. These are examples of illegal screens. This concludes this video presentation. Thank you for your attention and good luck this season.